your history with the Rose Bowl like, growing up, watching it, whatever the case might be?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that question because I will say this: growing up in South Dakota and not having gone outside of South Dakota, it seemed like so far away. But you knew the game and you knew the pageantry around it, and I remember the commentators saying what they said and the games being played. It seemed like such a distant thing in my mind. You know, not growing up around Division I football there in the middle of South Dakota, you know, it just didn't seem like something that was real. Then as you get older and you get into high school and college, then you start kind of understanding what it really is all about and paying closer attention. And as you go through the years coaching, you just truly realize how special of a place this is. And I've been in the Rose Bowl, in the stadium a number of times, you know, coaching there at Fresno State and at Washington. And it's you know, when you walk in, even when it's not the Rose Bowl game, you really can feel how awesome a place it is. And so I know our guys are looking forward to this moment. I know a lot of people have this as kind of bucket list items when it comes to coaching and the opportunity to be here. So it's pretty special.
Does it blow your mind that Alabama has been to the Rose Bowl more than many Big Ten and old Pac-12 teams?
It kind of does. It kind of does. I wouldn't have guessed that, and obviously that's been made aware, you know, to me. And so that would have not been something that if you'd asked me true or false, I would have guessed wrong.
How did growing up and playing at Sioux Falls and then coaching at Sioux Falls shape you into the person that you are and the coach that you are?
Yeah, I think, I mean, this is I can give you a long answer. I'll try to keep it short, but I think the playing part, being at a place that was striving to be at a championship level. We won a national championship my senior year there, and it doesn't matter. A championship is a championship. When you're the best of everyone you're competing against, to me, you know, you're giving everything you have, and it's all about here. There's more people watching, obviously, when you get to this level, but this is what matters because it's the people that you're coaching with, you're playing for. That really matters. But I grew to love the game. I grew to love the camaraderie that exists, and we were 2-8 my freshman year, 14-0 my senior year. I saw not necessarily what a bad culture looks like, but I saw what a championship culture definitely looks like, and how you can move the needle each day, each year, to get to the point where, you know, you're winning the big ones. And as a coach, having the opportunity where we fell short a number of times when I was an assistant coach, we went to many semifinals, and just learning, like, man, it's hard to get over that hump. And if you just keep going, you can get there, but you got to stay focused. You got to be determined, and you got to keep surrounding yourself with the right people. And once we got over that hump, then it just kind of rattled to where we went to 4 straight national championships. And again, that was 4 games, kind of like this would be. You understand that you just take care of the moment you're in, give everything you got into the preparation. All the cliches that people talk about, that's really what you got to live by.
You went back here over the summer to Sioux Falls. How important is that place to you in your journey, just being with the crew and becoming and now being involved?
Yeah, I mean, it's the city of Sioux Falls, the university. I got to speak with the guys there and the football team at my alma mater, and it's a special place because to me, it was the heart and soul of, like, why you love the game of football, and the camaraderie, my teammates. You know, it's just really like genuine care for the game, and then the people there. That's home. You know, that's home, and it's a smaller state, so you pretty much know everyone. So getting a chance to go back there this summer, and it had been a long time. It had been probably 6-7 years since I really was there, and that was even a quick stint too. So it was good to see a lot of familiar faces and get a chance to be around the people there.
The balance of building a roster for 26 while you're in the thick of it now, how difficult is that to kind of decide how to allot time for not just new staff and all that?
Yeah, trying to build next year's roster and talk through that, it's certainly tricky because you have to have conversations right now. You have to try to have a pulse of what's happening with your current roster and how that looks next year. You know the graduates, obviously, and you have a feel for the guys that might move on to the NFL early. but he also wanted to just really keep the guys focused on the moment we're in. And so there's that balance. If guys want to talk, I think they know that the door is always open, and that's the relationship I think we have now with our players as coaches. And so, you welcome those things without trying to let it be a distraction. And so our guys have done an amazing job. I just have to compliment them. They realize how hard they've worked and other guys have worked, and they're trying not to be a distraction, even though some of them are trying to figure out what is ahead. And it doesn't mean that they're thinking they're going somewhere. It's just like, trying to figure out their role. They might be a young guy and trying to kind of figure it out. This is their first time through it, their second time through it. So I certainly can appreciate what that process is for them and their parents, and as a family, as a parent, you're trying to do what's best for your kid and gather that information too. So, I'm certainly appreciative of kind of how they got to manage it as well as how we have to manage it as a staff.
And then how do you kind of have your staff get the program ready so when the portal goes open, you're able to evaluate guys to come through that way and be prepared for that part?
Yeah, I mean, everyone that makes a declaration that they're probably going to leave, you're evaluating them, and you're understanding your needs, and you're trying to figure out if anyone that's kind of put it out there that they're going to leave, you try to figure out if they're going to meet the needs that you have.
Coach, Ray and Kalen, they talked about how this team was unbreakable. They talked about there was a moment in the summer where you wanted to describe this team in one word, and the theme was unbreakable.
Yeah.
Just talk about it.
Yeah, the question is about our theme being unbreakable, and there's a lot of ideas when you've coached, and I have a note, in my phone that lists for years and years and years of great themes. 'Cause I've always liked to have a theme that you can kind of hang your hat on. You want a theme that you can hang your hat on when it's going really good, and one that can get you through the tough times as well. And Unbreakable, or that was one of them that I had, and I try to guide the guys into maybe 10 or 15 that I think can kind of fit and see what ones they really gravitate to. And these guys just really jumped all over the theme Unbreakable. And I think even more so as the season's gone on, they've really came back to that. I think fall camp was, just as far as you building your mental aspect and the physical aspect and the things that come along with the grind of fall camp is one thing. But then when we got into the season, we had these moments that really came up. They really went all in on that theme, and it's been something that, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of how they've hung their hat on that, and it's been a rallying effort for all of them with that theme.
I was talking with some of the Indiana players and the coaches, and we talked about the portal and how teams are using the portal and having success. Why do you think a team like Indiana has had so much success in the portal compared to some other teams who have tried the same strategy?
Well, I haven't followed exactly how they've made it happen with their portal efforts. I know that a year ago there was a lot of continuity within their system, having brought players that had been part of the coaching staff. So I know that's I'm probably spot on with that fact. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's been the same number or what their portal numbers are, but they've obviously done a good job of filling in the gaps where they needed help, and finding the right people as well. I think that's always a key. And so again, not knowing the ins and outs of who they had and how they got them, but knowing that they obviously have a very good football team, and one that seems to gel well, and that's a credit to their coaching staff and how they've gone about their process of picking with their team, and bringing their team together. Yep.
Coach Eddie mentioned your time with the Canyon Coyotes a second ago. Can you just talk about your relationship with them?
With where?
With the Canyon Coyotes?
Where at?
That's what Coach Signetti said. That's what, yeah, you just brought that up.
My time?
Yeah.
I'm trying. Where's that?
I don't know. That's what I was asking.
Canyon. I don't have a.
Is
I'm not.
he playing with you?
He must be.
Can you speak about your relationship with him?
I really haven't spent really any time with him. Obviously from afar, and having coached there at Indiana. I pay attention to those programs I've been at a little bit more, and just super impressed with what he's done in just 2 short years. There was a lot to build on, I think, and he's taken advantage of every resource. And obviously, once you get that momentum going, you get the fan base, you get you got a team that really is rallying around each other. And he's done an awesome job of taking advantage of that momentum and building a team that's extremely disciplined, well coached, detailed. You can see all the things that they're doing. It obviously is a credit to what he does as a top man and how he's built a staff that really has their priorities aligned and doing a great job coaching up their team.
As far as how you see him grow over the course of the season, challenge, how have you seen that be able to be infectious throughout the entire offense as well as you guys have been successful?
Yeah, as far as Ty and just his leadership and the mentality, I think there's a mentality, and as you go through the season. I mean, this is game 15 for us. There's the ups and downs, and every game's not going to be perfect. But his response and just what he's played through, and it can be the mental part, it can be the physical part, it can be wins, losses. He's just continued to stay the course, and I think right now, as we continue to get more guys around him, and guys again making plays this last week against Oklahoma was a big part of it. Making those 50-50 catches and the confidence that he has in them is showing up, going both ways. He's got a kind of a renewed energy as we get to this new season when it comes to the playoffs. And I love it. I love that's what we need, because when the quarterback steps in the huddle, that you're going to go as the demeanor of the quarterback is. If he's in there confident, you're going to be confident as an offensive line, as a receiving core around him. And he's done a good job of that all year, but he's especially done a good job in the big moments. And when those critical times come, your trigger man is the guy that you're going to kind of lean on. And he did that again this last game against Oklahoma, making a lot of plays.
What traits have you seen as far as like you look at the Kobe's or the MJs or the Tom Brady's of the world, their success and their consistency? How have you seen that consistency come off in them when the cameras aren't on, when you guys are at practice or watching film?
Yeah, I think there's a swagger that I think the best guys have, and Ty isn't out. He's emotional, and I'm sure you've all seen the videos of him passionate in the locker room. He's a team first guy, and that is what you see out externally, but that's really who he is internally. I think our team more than appreciates how important the team is to him and how that's a priority to Ty ahead of everything else. And so that, and then I think there's a confidence that he has when it comes to the playmaking ability, and he does it mostly with his arm, but there's critical times where he's used his feet also. So big moments come. Your quarterback's going to be important as the trigger man, and he's came through more times than not. You're not going to be perfect. Everyone's human, but he's done a great job with the big moments.
You mentioned the Indiana pass. What's the added challenge going up against a team that just has all of this momentum from the last 2 years, coming from the bottom of their 10 spots?
Yeah, they're undefeated for a reason. They got a very good football team. They play well, and from our standpoint, there's a belief in who we are, and that's what you really got to focus on: is who are we? What we've been through, and how we've overcome is what we're proud of. And this is the next challenge. This is the next opportunity for us. And so, our guys are eager for it. I think they understand that the work is you do is what builds the confidence, and they've been doing that again here these last 10, 12 days, getting ready for this game.
Ryan, it really hasn't been like the season that he followed his freshman year, but how do you kind of see him kind of maintain that confidence to be this player that he really is?
Yeah, when it comes to Ryan, he had such a big year last year as a freshman. I know that you can always have more, but there's just been a nonstop level of just work that he puts in, and I mean, just his attitude. You know, people can always say stuff, but they don't know. You know, when you're there with him and you see the smile, the work, the team first attitude that he has, you can't help but root for him, whether it's as a coach or whether it's as a teammate. Man, I just love the guy. The guy is super talented, and it hasn't been the perfect year, but you know, everyone in this room, all the players, I mean, I know that they have nothing but love and giving the support that they have, because every day when he steps on the football field, he's trying to overcome and help us be better. And I know that's what he's done the last week and a half. And he's going to have a game like he's had at different times where he goes off. And I'm just waiting for that moment, because when it is, it's going to be awesome. And we're all going to be super happy for him. And I know that it's coming sooner than later.
I know that people like follow statistics about captains and seniors, but really, how else has he really made a difference for this team this season, getting you guys to this point, even if it's not necessarily showing those games?
Yeah, I think when your high-profile guys are the ones, again, that put the team ahead of anything that is personal, that's what you want, and that's how you build a team like we have that is pretty tight-knit. And Ryan's a high-profile guy. He's a playmaker for us. And, you know, when his attitude is so positive like it has been, I mean, you just can't help but, again, root for him, help him become better. I don't care if it's the quarterback and spending extra time with him and working on that timing, or as a coach, just trying to spend those extra minutes making sure, you know, he's good as a person, but also talking through the football side of things and helping him develop and grow. It's all part of this process. You know, he's got an amazing future ahead of him, and we all want it right now. He wants it right now, but he's taking the steps every single day to realize the greatness that he's going to have, not just this year, next year, but for a long time down the road as a football player.
Yeah, I also want to ask, was game planning for this game, like how do you try to get him the ball, also knowing that Indiana probably going to hard hit on his line and take him out of the game?
Yeah, I think there's always intentionality on trying to get, you know, your guys that need to have their touches, their opportunities, and we of course will do that. And then I think there's other playmakers too that just feed off each other. We got to be intentional with him. We know Germ, you know, you're across the board, and now you got Lottie and Isaiah made plays in the last couple of games as well. And so again, all of them working off of each other. The running backs making their plays. You know, Cuevas now back into the equation again. So you know, the defense having to look at all these guys and trying to figure out who you're trying to stop or what's the tendencies. That's what you want to give Ty as the trigger man to be able to have his threats. And again, we're going to be intentional about getting Ryan, but also a lot of it just happens within the inner workings of the offense.
With Josh Cuevas, can you speak a little bit about him? He's made the most out of every opportunity. All that you're watching him out. What type of player is he from your perspective?
Yeah, Josh Cuevas, just obviously coming back home is special for him, and anytime you can do that as a coach and see the progress he's made. He had that skill set. He had a lot of catches and touches in his early years at Cal Poly. We saw that. Got an opportunity to get them up there at Washington. When he wanted to come to Alabama, that was huge for us. He did a good job of letting things come his way. There was a couple good tight ends, C.J. Dupree, Robbie Oots last year that were here established. Obviously, Josh knew the offense, so he had a leg up on him that way. But he just continued to stay the course. He just continued to get stronger. He's always had twitch, great movement skills, but great ball skills. And now you're continuing to see that just evolve this year as he's getting more and more opportunities. He's an in-the-moment guy. He doesn't shy away from the competition. He doesn't shy away from any of the pressure that comes being here at Alabama or being in big games. He embraces it, and he's got a great future. I think he's really opened a lot of people's eyes to what he can be, not just as a pass catcher, but also evolved as a run blocker. We saw that a couple years ago already, the physicality that he can have, and he's shown that here week in and week out in the SEC.
foundations of college football. I wonder if you see a distinctive value in that and how it's shaped.
Well, I think when you go through the ranks and Coach Signetti, like as you're asking with your question, I think you learn how to maximize what you have, and that might be the resources, that might be, coaching staff. I think there's an appreciation you have when you get to this level, and FBS, being an FBS school where you have people not just managing those people and trying to get them all aligned and head in the same direction. But I think schematically, I think there's again, you trying to take advantage of the one or two players that were stars maybe that you had at the smaller college, but then you grow your systems to this point now where you have a lot more great players, and he's done a great job again maximizing, teaching fundamentals. You can see it with turnover margin. You can see it in just how they execute, whether it be run game or their defensive scheme. He's getting so much out of his players. That's a credit to him and what he's done. I have to think that had to be something that he's done not just now, but started a long time ago, whether it's learning under other people or taking it and applying it to the places he's been, the smaller colleges, as he's worked himself up through the ranks.
Kalen, can I ask you a question about just your general health right now? LT was saying he feels good and he's going to be back. Obviously, Ty was saying here's the SEC title game to now. He feels like a really good person. And there's Jam, there's a bunch of guys. Is there a quiet confidence that this is a bit of a different Alabama team, maybe health-wise, what we saw again in September than last week?
Yeah, I would definitely say that you can see it on the practice field. I mean, when you're getting an opportunity to get back to working with those guys that you've thrown to, if it's Ty or just how he feels and stuff, a few more days makes a big difference. And we've had 12 or 13 days since the last game, and we had the same thing before the SEC championship. Those bye weeks that we had earlier in the year, the week one bye week or the first bye week and the second bye week, we played better for the most part coming off of those bye weeks as well. So, physically our guys I think are at a better spot than they've been most of the second half of the season. And so having these guys, first of all, back, but having them back at the level of health that they are, it leads to, again, our own momentum internally, whether it's this game, but more importantly, even the practices, just the level of intensity that they're bringing, how more fresh they feel. You can feel it, and obviously some of it has to do with us being excited to play in the Rose Bowl, the second round playoff for us. There's an energy to that as well. So again, we've had some really productive practices, high level practices, that energy everyone has, I think that you feel, the excitement that we have is real.
LT specifically, can you just walk me through his skill set, his team brings, his versatility?
Yeah, LT is, first of all, just a physical presence. And then this year he's just kind of taken the parts where he was just coming short of getting quarterbacks on the ground, making plays in the backfield. He's doing that. He's done that now this year consistently at a high level. And so it is, welcoming to have him back out there. I'm excited to see him back out there, not just for the team, our team, and just what he can do to help us, but for him too, because he's loved by his teammates, but we want LT to realize the high level of success he can have individually too.
Last question: you've been unafraid to make daring calls in big games prior to here. Washington, I can't claim I watched all the AI title, but I imagine where does that fearlessness come from and that aggression come from in the baseball?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the moments, it's not being reckless and just always going for it. It's a balance of what is just trying to figure out what is best for our team's success, and you try to do everything you can, whether it's in the game planning that week or what you did in spring ball, fall camp, to make sure that our guys, the moment that you're in, you just go and execute the play to the best of your ability. And for us, it's practicing those plays. It's guys understanding when we get to this 3rd and 2 or this red zone play or this 4th down inside the goal, inside the 5, like we've had a number of times. I think in South Carolina, Auburn, that we know those plays. It's not the same ones, but it's ones that we've practiced. at least in the family of concepts, and those guys just trust and believe in that they can execute, and that falls on the trust and belief I have. Now again, a lot of times when you do go for it, there's not just a confidence you have in your offense, but there's a confidence you have in your defense that they can step on the football field and mentally be able to feel like, hey, we gave the ball up in our own territory. They're not just going to collapse. That we are mentally strong that way, and we can go out there and produce and not just give in that moment defensively.
Coach, this year you got Ryan Grove back on staff and sort of got the band back together from most of your career when you were with him and Nick Sheridan. So how important was it to you to bring him back into the fold, and kind of what has that allowed the offense to be this year?
Yeah, I think it's allowed me to get back to just feeling like each side of the ball, each phase of the game, you can kind of give the due diligence that you need to as a head coach to all areas. And I think Ryan's done a great job, especially in the big moments, coming up with the calls. We talk about, the going for it moments, and knowing that he's prepared with his call, knowing that he's prepared his side of the ball for those things. And I think in year 2, our guys, those calls now were practiced a year ago, with Coach Sheridan and the great job he did. But also now we've just continued to grow and develop. Be ready for these critical times and be ready to execute. So again, he does a great job leading his offensive staff, and then obviously the staff has to lead the players and making sure everyone's aligned. It's always a work in progress, because there's going to be turnover again next year that we have, whether it's staff or players. And so you reset and start all over, but you have a trust and understanding of what you're trying to do and how you want to win. And to me, that's the key. It isn't always the thing I appreciate about both of our coordinators is that first and foremost, it's about our team finding a way to win. It's not putting up the stats to be number 1 in the country. I think the whole, everyone out there knows how good of coordinators each of these guys are, and they're just out there to do what's best for Alabama.
Yeah, and I imagine that it's a bit of a transition to go from Seattle to Tuscaloosa, mainly because of how passionate this fan base is. So did you, he was here for a hot second when you first got hired, but did you chat with him at all about, prepare yourself for, you're never going to go to the grocery store on Robert again, or how did you prepare for that?
Oh, I think we all do. We all know, passionate, but I think it always goes back to internal. There's a passionate fan base, but internally, it's about your desire to be your best, and being your best and what that can lead to as far as success on the football field, wins and losses, success offensively, defensively. I think it always goes back to the person individually and what their determination is to compete at the highest level. And so the external stuff, we really try to stay clear of that, and I think that's obviously a challenge, because our players do see here. We're right here, and you can tell the questions that you get asked on what that direction is that people are trying to go with, and so that's an all year-round thing. But especially as we're in the season, trying to help our guys through the noise that certainly is created out there when it's good, really good, or even when you maybe had a game where you struggled.
Is that something that you come up with, for your fan? Why do you feel like boxing or matches like that, heavyweight fights, are competitive?
I can't say that I'm a diehard boxing fan, but I have an appreciation for what it means to be any individual sport. I never was a wrestler, never was a boxer, but to be out there and be in that moment and take the punches, I think there's just a direct application to it. And so, I've used the best fighters, Ali in particular, and there's been a couple other situations we've brought up where, you go and in the old school 15 rounds, just what that looks like in the early part of a boxing match, what it looks like in the middle, at the end. There's just been a lot of times where we've applied that, and there's certain pictures of Muhammad Ali in particular that I've shown, him standing over, his competitor and, applying it to the toughness and the different, whether it's physical, mental. We've really, I think, done a good job of honing in on the emotional part this year, whether it's the discipline to make sure the team's always first and not have penalties and the unsportsmanlikes that come along with the ups and downs of a game. But again, going back to your question, I think there is a direct relation to a schedule that you go through, and it's 15 rounds, whether it's the schedule or that individual game, and our guys just continue to keep swinging, keep punching. We've really kind of honed in on the boxing piece, and it's been something the guys, and I always try to feed off of what the guys relate to or what you feel they're connecting to, and every year it's different because every team is different. Every team's struggles and the things they thrive on are different. So they've really connected with that more so I've continued to build on it. Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah, we threw some rock. We got into Rocky a little bit, and some quotes there. There's some of the best quotes, come from those type of movies. Yeah,
if you could pinpoint one thing about Indiana, what would you say is the biggest challenge they pose to
our team? How balanced they are as a football team. Offense, defense, special teams, they don't beat themselves at all. And so that's a credit to their coaching staff, their roster, all being aligned playing team football. It's something that I've prided our team in, and they've done that. I mean, you can look at the statistics they have, just where they're ranked in all of those areas. The fundamental things, the turnover margin would be one of them that just jumps out at me. That wins you, loses you a lot of games, and they just are elite in that category, but they're obviously great running the football, against the run, efficient against the pass, passing the football. They're just a very well-balanced team, whether it's offense, defense, or within their offense and defense, how they produce.
When you were on the IU staff, facilities were improving, greater investment was being made. How did you and the staff at the time view the possibilities there?
Yeah, I think looking back, I hadn't been on campus there, and I was probably going to stay where I was at Fresno. When I went to campus and felt it, I felt like there's the resources that you need, and then I think it was the people. It was Fred Glass at the time, Scott Dolson, just people that I respected and really got to know and appreciated what their vision looked like. And so, I appreciated what Tom Allen was doing at the time and the energy and effort he was putting into it, and saw what it could be. And obviously Coach Signetti's done a great job building on all of that and the people that are supporting him. So, my family enjoyed really living there, and it was a short stint, but it was one that certainly is a part of my journey and one I'm very proud of.
Did you see something like this happening there?
I've never been caught up in what I wanted to become. I loved being at the University of Sioux Falls and could have stayed there forever. I really could have. Jumping around. Fresno State and being a head coach there, that was a place that I could have been at forever. To me, it was about the people and just, enjoying the journey there. And when that happens and you're able to just give everything you got, and, I love being at Washington, then I think, again, you enjoy what you're doing, and, that applies to here. You love being where you're at, and when the people are all in place and all aligned and head in the same direction, it's amazing what you can accomplish. And that leads to opportunities. And us, doing that here, hopefully will lead to opportunities for our coaches, opportunities for our players to go make life better for them and their families as well as they go through whether this year or the years to come.